Thank you for joining us today. Our franchisee, Vineet, he will be here in just a minute. He was finishing up an assessment and talking with a client. So as you guys know, busy business owners, sometimes things don't go exactly as planned. So he should be joining us here in just a minute. So I appreciate your time. Give us just a few, and we'll get this thing going. But thanks again for jumping on. And as a quick housekeeping, if you guys have any questions as we go through talking with Vineet, let me know or throw them in the Q&A chat box, and hopefully get to those at the end of our little conversation. So give us just a minute. He should be jumping on here in just a second. Thanks, everybody. Oh, we get both of you guys.
Look at that. We
Look
made it
at
happen.
that. Oh,
Yep.
well, hello.
Hi.
Oh,
How we doing?
I feel like I have not seen you guys in forever. Like I hear of you and I see it, but it's been awesome. And thank you both for being able to join us today.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you again for jumping on. As you guys know, my name is Mike Condon. I have the pleasure of being the Vice President of Franchise Development here at HomeWell. And these are always my favorite webinars when we do them on Fridays, is when we get an opportunity to chat with some of our franchise owners. And today is a special treat. Vineet and Sapna are from Brookfield, Wisconsin. They have been absolutely just crushing it up there. And as a fellow Midwesterner, I love to see that. As we start to go into the fall and football season and all the things, and I'm excited to have a great conversation with you guys today. Just a couple of quick housekeeping. We'll have probably some questions come in, guys. I'll throw those kind of at you as they see fit, and we'll go from there. But I'd love to just kind of jump in with you guys today. I'd love to share with the audience a little bit about your journey to us, kind of what prompted you to start looking into a business. Why did you settle on home care? And more specifically, what made your decision to go with HomeWell in this space?
All right, let's jump right into it. Can you guys hear us okay, both of us?
We can, yes, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
I can start, and then I'll have I think both of us came at it from a slightly different perspective, right? And that's always good to have in a household, and especially when you're a husband-wife team kind of teaming up together. And both of us, I'd say maybe the common factor has been we've been through, caring for our grandparents and our parents, the long distance caring, right? So we've been down that path, understand the complexity involved there, making sure are they being taken care of, are they doing the right thing? All of those kinds of things are always in the top of your mind as you're going through this type of a process, right? And I'd say for me, a big part of it was we want to get into being entrepreneurs, be small business owners. So what do we do, right? So we started, I think, all the way at the top there, identifying different industries. We did our quite a bit of research, I'd say, over several months to understand what is it that we would like to do, where is it that we can create a community impact, right? And what would be something that can be a good business as well for the long term. So I'd say that led us to this whole, personal care, in-home care for seniors was very attractive right from the start. And then getting into a little bit of the selection process and how we arrived at HomeWell. I think we had a list of 7 companies?
I think we had 7 different companies.
A long list of 7 companies. But as we whittled that list down, it became very clear that HomeWell was in our top 3. Then we did a territory match. We looked at kind of what the offering was in terms of training. I see Treg on the call. He was very helpful through that whole process. I think that kind of gave us the confidence as we went through the whole process that HomeWell would be the perfect fit, right? I think that's my approach to it.
I agree with you. I think, pretty much that was the approach we took, and having that initial conversation with Treg, understanding the vision and value of HomeWell, also kind of helped us kind of decide to go with HomeWell.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it was it's always exciting when you identify it, and I appreciate, the honesty is, I agree. I think you need to do your research, right? You need to find the best fit for you. And that goes for everybody out there, no matter what kind of business model you're looking at. It's got to fit what you're looking for. The values have to fit with what you offer, but also what are the values that they bring to the table that you guys can match with. And I know Treg and I were very excited when we, decided to award the franchise to you guys. You guys decided to accept it, and it's been a kind of a often running since then. I'd love to share with the audience a little bit about where did you guys come from? What were both of your backgrounds prior to getting into this?
I come from a healthcare background. I'm a speech language pathologist by degree, was a director of therapy and quality at one of the largest nursing homes in Milwaukee. 25 years of healthcare experience. This is pretty much what I've done all my life, and this is what, I wanted to continue doing, is helping the elderly.
Mhm.
So kind of helped us decide as well, this is what we wanted
Yeah.
to do. So
Yeah, and my background couldn't be further from there, right? So I'm an engineer by degree, right? So engineer by degree. I've done, various different types of roles in corporate America, sales, consulting. I've
Yep.
managed P&Ls. So it's been a pretty diverse in that sense, but that I think is also what makes it work.
Yeah, I agree. I think you guys each bring a different skill set to it, and that's the one thing not necessarily needed in this business, but it's definitely a
Right.
bonus when each of you come in with a little bit different skill set. As you guys know, operating the business now day to day, there's a distinct role that each of you play. And my guess would be you don't cross paths a lot. I mean, obviously you talk about things going on, but Vineet, you have a skill set that you bring to the table. Sapna, you bring that other skill set, and it works really well in this type of environment. So it's definitely one of the reasons why you guys have been so successful. So let's talk about, you guys decided to move forward. I always love to ask this question, like, when you guys decided to move forward with purchasing a franchise, take HomeWell out of it, you guys decided to move forward. Like, what was that feeling like at that moment? Because it's scary at some points, right? So what was that like for you when you said, hey, we're going to do this, let's execute that franchise agreement? Like, how did you guys feel?
Well, I mean,
If you can
it's
remember back.
it was only one short year ago, right?
It
But it's
was, yeah.
been a lot. But to be fair, I think we probably sat and spun our wheels on that exact stage, trying to get from, hey, we'd like to do this, to how do you get past that initial, there is risk involved, you're kind of overwhelmed by the initial process. There's the fear of the unknown. There's a lot of things, that different emotions going on in your mind, right? Um, but I think a big part of that, I think, is one, like you said, do your research. You have to be comfortable with that risk perception, right? So everyone's risk profiles are going to be different. Once, for us, maybe it was figuring out, hey, what's the worst that can happen, right? We fail and we go do something else. But look at what the upside is, right? Is there's so much more you can do uh, as part of the community, bring our dreams together here, make this work. I think that was all the other positive sides of what kept us moving forward. And throughout the process, I think as we're talking to the different folks involved from HomeWell, you get different perspectives, the different referral calls that we made, and maybe, talking to the other owners. All of that contributes to, okay, I can see, and you talk to all of these different people, get different point of views and opinions. You start to click with different parts of these things you're hearing, right? And that, I think, is what puts you into that comfort state, saying, yes, I want to do this, sign the FDD, and then there's no looking back, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's a great kind of segue. Let's talk a little bit about, training. You guys were on the newer side of going through our new training process, and we talk a lot about the importance of Erica and Olga and Meredith and the onboarding team to help you launch successfully. So tell the folks out there a little bit, what was that process like for you? The good, the challenges? Because listen, let's be honest, being a business owner, it's not all roses and sunshine every single day. It's okay to admit that. Talk about that process for you guys, and some of the things maybe you learned through that.
Maybe you should, about Laura and
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that our initial point of contact for the whole training was Laura
Yep.
Patterson. She did phenomenal for us. I mean, just to get us started, and then signing on to all of those onboarding webinars that we did with Erica.
Mhm.
I thought it was very methodical. It kind of slowly introduced us into what to expect, and how to launch our business, how to run it. I thought overall it was a very good onboarding process, and to just be involved with other new owners as well during that whole process was very helpful. Kind of getting to know from them what were they doing, what processes that they were implementing. I thought overall it was a very very well established process is what I felt. It helped us a lot to launch our business.
Yeah, I'd add to it is one of the reasons we choose to come work with the franchise is because you're bringing those established practices,
Mhm.
right? I'd say, in spite of all of our, backgrounds and experience and the prep work that we did ourselves, I think talking to Lara through the process and the other FBCs that were helping, you realize, hey, there's still some things that you've forgotten, right? There's the
Yeah.
right amount of, I don't want to say pressure, but they're egging you on to do the right thing at the right time, right? So you're
Mhm.
better prepared for the launch. I think that was a big factor in all of this.
Yeah, the goal of that process is to get you as prepared as you can be to launch your business. And as you guys, experience, there's one thing that you're doing on paper. It's another thing when it's live, kind of live action fire, like what you guys go through as a business owner every day. And part of our process that we really are emphasizing now is that the practicing, how do you do your first assessment? What should that look like? And really role playing all of those scenarios so that when your phone rings for that first time, how you're going to answer it versus this is the first time I've ever done this. And I think that's a big distinction of, when you look at our training and operations 5 years ago to where we are today and what you guys went through, it's a lot more dialed in when it comes to that part of it. Because again, you're going to go through things during training that hopefully you're going to go through as you go through them in real life, and you're going to have that practice, and that's really the goal. So when you guys started out, you guys launched your business. Now, what does your staffing look like? Has it changed since you guys started? Obviously, you're always onboarding caregivers. I think that's kind of a given. But from an internal staff perspective, what does that look like? Maybe from when you started to where it is today, or it could be the same.
You too.
So when we started, it was just Vinny and I,
Mhm.
pretty much running the whole business. So as of a month ago, we hired our very first full-time general manager for our agency to help us out as well at this time. So it's just one other additional full-time
Mhm.
employee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd say over time, so when we started out, both of us were part-time, right? In HomeWell. And that was partly by design. We wanted to be a little more conservative on the risk profile. We're like, you know what? Let's make sure this is something that will work for us. So we started part-time, but I think Sapna was the first one to go full-time well before our previously planned date
Mhm.
because of how quickly we saw the opportunities coming. And we're like, you know what, this is the right time to make the switch. So Sapna went full time. I'm still part time, and that's when we brought on a general manager that kind of helps with, some of the broader aspects while we focus on growing the business now, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a great segue into a question that we get asked all the time. We encourage there needs to be typically somebody full time in the business. That I think that is the best way to do that, and you guys are realizing that, and obviously give you a lot of credit. There is risk when it comes to that, but you're finding you can tend to grow faster when somebody's dedicated to the business full time. That process to us is one of the key factors in being successful in the agency. So Sapna, talk about a little bit about your day to day now that you're in full time. Like, what does that look like? Some of the duties, responsibilities. Obviously, you're a business owner. You're doing a little bit of everything. Let's be honest. But where do you focus the majority of your time to help the business move forward?
I want to say, currently with having someone full-time in the office, she's taken control of the scheduling, the incoming caregiver phone calls. So a lot of my focus currently has been, looking into our referral partners, looking into sales, taking the incoming sales calls. How soon can we convert that sale call into an assessment? Get that assessment into our agency manager so she can go do the assessment. So a lot of my focus in the last month has been to grow the business by increasing our referral partners, just getting more leads in, converting those leads into potential clients for us. But at the same time, not letting go of our customer satisfaction. That is
Yeah.
super important for us. The current clients that we have, we want to make sure that they're continuing to be happy. They're well taken care of by our caregivers. So making those phone calls as well to our current clients to make sure that,
Yeah.
hey, is everything going okay? Anything that we can do different? So those are the two aspects I want to say that I'm focusing most on, while the agency manager takes care of recruiting, onboarding, any caregiver concerns, call-ins, all of that is taken care of by the agency manager at this time.
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy. And, talk about a little bit about the support you're getting from our side, because I think obviously, part of being a franchise is you expect that support to be there. So talk about a little bit how maybe the support from your FBC helps with encouraging those conversations, or do you feel like they're providing you what you need in order to continue to grow and scale your agency?
Do you want to take that?
Sure. I mean, I think the FBCs play a very critical role, right? Is throughout this process, right from the get-go, they're keeping you honest to one, the business plan you put together, and that's completely our input, right? To what the benchmarks are, kind of continuing to guide us along the way, saying, hey, at this point or at this stage in your life cycle, you should be hitting some of these numbers, right? That gives you great insight into,
Yeah.
okay, either we are or we're blowing past those numbers, but either way, you got to understand your business from the inside out to say
Yeah.
what's working and what's not working, right? And then once you know what's not working, it becomes an easier path to sit down with the FBC. We've been doing weekly calls.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks now, we kind of changed the frequency, but those weekly calls kind of allowed us to bring up any issues, concerns, or asking, hey, what are some of the other owners doing when they ran into this
Yeah.
situation? So I think we use the FBC's time as a way to any initial new challenge we ran into. That was the first sounding board, right? Is either
Yeah.
you're getting input or you're getting some direction, or you're simply being told, hey, things are going great, you're doing well, keep going, right? So I think
Yeah.
that was the role that the FBC, and believe me, running a business, no matter the size, is not without challenges, right? Going back to even the early days of pre-launch, we had an issue at the time. The launch consultant and then the FBC, they jumped right into helping us through the situation. We asked for a call with Crystal, the CEO of
Mhm.
HomeWell. That happened. Treg was instrumental trying to get us that set up. Those things not only ease your stress about running the business, but I think there's material value that they bring to how you run your business. I think the
Yeah.
FBCs do a great job. And we currently work with, it used to be Stu, and now we have Randall as our
Randall.
new.
Yep. And
Yeah.
then just to add, just that ability to know that, they're only a text away. If we have any issues, just to text Randall and we know he'll be there to help us. And then also any new partnership that HomeWell creates. I feel like the FBCs are very good at communicating to us, telling us the value of potentially partnering with the new partners. And, that really does help us.
Yeah, I always brag about them because I wholeheartedly believe that they are the reason why our franchisees are being as successful as they are. The FBCs work tirelessly, and you guys know that. To your point, for those that are out there, the business coach world in franchising isn't as structured sometimes as you believe it to be. We believe in a very low ratio of franchisees to business coaches. And I think that's been key in our success, to your point, Sapna, of being able to text Randall and say, I have this question. He's going to text you back or call you not 3 days later, but pretty quickly. And I think, in our experience in franchising, when you look around, that ratio sits somewhere between 1 to 80 to 100 franchisees. At HomeWell, we believe it's 1 to every 30. And I think that rapid response is key to helping you through those challenges, especially early on, because you just don't know what you don't know yet. And so it's nice to have that resource, and it's great to hear you guys using them as they see fit that way. That's good. That's good knowledge for us too, because I know it works that way, but it's good for all of us to hear it again.
Yeah. And I think another important distinction is, small business owners are coming into it because you want to be independent. You want to be running things on your own. So while the FBCs are there to help, they're not necessarily stepping on your toes or interfering in how you want to run the business. I think that's a very important aspect, is they're there to help. You reach out to them, you get the help. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, we talk a lot about it being engaged, right? And a lot of questions we get on the front end is like, what makes a successful franchisee? And I think a part of that is engagement. If you have a problem, you're reaching out and asking the question. It's not sitting back and being like, well, they didn't tell me that this was a problem. Like anything in life, you don't have a solution if you don't ask the question. And I think, to your guys' credit, using it in that format has really allowed you to get the response that you need to move the business forward. And ultimately, it is your business. We're there to support you in growth, but it's ultimately your decision of how you want to do that. Is there a great question came in, a couple of them. I'd love to get your guys' opinion on it. Are there any, in your opinion, now that you've been here over a year, you've had a chance to meet a lot of the other owners, are there any types of personalities that fit better with this type of business model, in your opinion, than others, or any specific maybe skills or traits that you've seen and you've experienced that maybe are better suited for an industry like this?
Take a crack at it.
I'm coming from a healthcare background, right?
Right.
So it's been easier transition for me. And I know Vinny has had to learn a lot along the way in the last year. So in terms of skill set, I think it's advantageous to have a little bit of a healthcare background when you launch this business, because when you launch it, when you bring on new clients, you're always going to have those call-ins. It's just easier it was very easy for me to just step in and cover the shifts, but someone that comes in without that experience, it is harder. So that is just my opinion on that. What was your other question? Now I missed it.
Oh, just different skill sets and responsibilities, and I guess a little bit of a different spin on it is mindset too, right? You guys are coming in here. You said it. You're prepared to do what it takes to run the business, and I think in this model you have to do that. You have to be willing to step in and say, "Hey, my caregiver called off. It's going to happen. How are you going to handle those challenges?" And I think those are the different things that we try to kind of get across, and it's great to hear from your guys' perspectives of that mindset of being an owner of a business.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think having the healthcare experience lets you create a more authentic experience for the clients. But I'd say more importantly, you want to have, or you need to be, a self-starter, right? There's going to be a lot of challenges along the way. You've got to be able to figure out, if something that doesn't go per plan, what do you do next, right? You need to be well organized, because things are very dynamic in this business. But the caregivers with clients, changing schedules, unplanned interruptions in the care and service, I think that's the stuff that you want to be have the ability to be on top of, right?
Yeah.
It's not something you can't learn, but it definitely helps to be more organized when you're coming into it.
Yeah. What is one thing about running this business, or a couple of things that maybe you learned as you go that you wish you would have known in the beginning? Is there anything that you can think of that kind of fits that mold? Or what would you tell your younger self a year ago when you started? Something that maybe you would do it if you had to do it over again. Something you've learned. How about that?
I think for me, the biggest one was possibly how to approach the caregivers. I think that is something that I had to learn because I was more used to dealing with, therapists who have their masters, who have their bachelor's degree. They're educated, they're qualified. But when you go into, it's a completely different way of approaching the caregivers. Some of them have, there's just, they have this certification to take care of clients. It's a very different approach. And I think that is one of the biggest learning process for me was how I dealt with, even communicating with the caregivers, assigning tasks to them. It's very different.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that I learned a lot. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's just, I think the other thing, the biggest was probably, you have your calendar set for the day. You're not going to accomplish anything that's on your calendar because every day there's something that comes along the way, and it's just so fluid.
Mhm.
It's just one of those things where we had to get used to is, you plan all these things, but it's not going to go according to plan because something else is going to come up. So those
Yeah.
two are probably couple of biggest things for me was to get used to were those two.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I think those might have been the top two things.
Yeah. I definitely, as a business owner, and it's coming from, you both come from I'll call it corporate background, right? Whether I know it's healthcare, but it's still, with what you guys were doing, it's very structured. Being a business owner can be structured, but then it can't be. And there's a lot of days where you wake up and your plan is ABC, and then you end up being CBA because it just that's the way it goes. And I think having that, again, one of the things we talk a lot about now, and part of our onboarding and training process is owner mindset. We have a course. I don't know if you guys had a chance to take that in the learning lab. You guys are living it every day, but Erica and the team has launched, this owner mindset of really what it takes to be a business owner. And I think you guys said it so eloquently that be prepared for the stuff that you're not going to know what's coming your way, and that's okay. That's perfectly normal to do that. We're running out of time here, and I want to be conscious of your guys' time today. Um, you know, talk a little bit about future. What are your guys' goals? As you guys continue to grow and expand the business from here, what are your long-term goals?
What would you say, sir?
Our long-term goal would be, my vision or our vision is probably to be the go-to home care agency for our area. If someone wants help, I want it to be, HomeWell Care Services of Brookfield to be the go-to agency. So from where we are right now to upscale it, and to get to that point, maybe in the next year or so would be our goal.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, for me, it's a scale mindset, right? Is kind of like what Sapna is saying. I think it's and to your earlier question as well, I think the only thing we probably would have done differently is start 3 years ago, right? Is I want to see where we're
There you
gonna
go.
be years from
Yeah.
now. Is my approach is, I mean, we should have done this way sooner, way earlier, right? So the goal, I think, would be that is we want to maybe have add more territories to this setup that we have, continue to grow to, maybe have 300 caregivers one day and take up an entire office space and building, right? And we love to travel on the personal front. We have two young boys, so maybe do more of the stuff that we love and let the business run on its own, right?
Yeah.
I think are some of the more grand plans that we have.
I love it. That's, again, that's something we want to talk a lot about, right? As a group, and I know our FBCs and our franchise services team, we talk a lot about it internally about how we help you reach those goals. What does that look like? What support do you need? and go from there. And I love what you said about starting 3 years ago. You know, you always hear the old adage, the best time to start was yesterday, the next best time is today. And I think, you know, what a leading kind of my last question is going to be around that is what advice do you give to people that are like on the fence about, hey, is this the right business model for me? Can I be successful? What kind of advice would you give to folks sitting there like that?
I can go first and then you
No,
want to
yeah,
answer.
you go.
Yeah, you know, I'd say, you know, kind of summarizing what we talked about, right? Is one, you want to be very certain that this is the path for you. And once you decide that, knowing that you can take on challenges, knowing that there's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be some dynamic nature to this business. I think once you assimilate all that into your risk profile, this is the best decision, right? Is you're going to be owning your own business. You're going to see fast growth. You're going to be working with people, you know, caregivers and clients. And that's a wonderful opportunity to create change in lives of both of these groups of people.
Mhm.
You see firsthand what it means to a client that maybe living by themselves, has no family or no companionship or needs help and care. I think all of that adds to the whole experience of being your own business owner, right? So I'd say jump right into it. You get a lot of support, a lot of help from HomeWell, the other business owners. Like, you know, we constantly get calls, and we've been paying it forward, right? As we've been talking to other owners to learn about what works well. So that entire community is there to help you succeed. So I'd say with that in mind, jump right into it.
And then you're giving back to your community. You know,
Yeah.
that's
It's such a great feeling to know, and we talk a lot about this. It's not only the obviously the potential of owning a great business, profitability, all that stuff, but it's when you guys go to bed at night, you're helping the people that need it the most. And I think that's where this business for us, I know for me personally, and I can imagine for you guys, really allows a lot of personal satisfaction because you're doing both sides of the coin. You're fulfilling a lot of those personal goals that you guys wanted, but also knowing that you're helping people that need it the most and providing such a great service into that community. So that is such an awesome feeling, guys. I want to say thank you to you both. Sapna, it's great that you were able to make it. I know sometimes, like you said, business doesn't always. Vineet's email this morning saying, I don't think she's going to be able to make it, and things change. So I'm very grateful, and we're very blessed to have you both as part of our HomeWell family. I look forward to seeing you guys in Dallas in April. Right, it's going to be here before you know it, and you know, a continued success up in the Milwaukee area. And I look forward to hearing your success stories as we move forward. So to everybody else on the call, thank you guys for joining us today. If you have any follow-up questions, if you need anything from our team here at HomeWell to help support your discovery through us, please feel free to reach out. And obviously, if you have any follow-up questions, I know both Vineet and Sapna appreciate the opportunity to chat with you guys about any questions you guys have as well. So everybody, enjoy your Fridays. Thank you guys so much for your time. Congrats on all the success. And we look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
thank you so much.
Thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.